Relax and get loose while I put you up on game. The Figure Booth with Josh and Nate. This that podcast for those in the know. Batman vs. Iron Man, how would it go? We talking one of a kind. Collectibles, Mezco toys are respectable. It's unacceptable if it's not in the packaging. Nate don't take pics if you ain't rapping it. Nate's dirty tricks are always happening. But damn it, man, don't you be stressing. Round here we believe in plastic confessions. We trying to figure out the figures that's gonna stand the test of time. That G.I. Joe handmade hit me in the spine. There's perfection in the way that these toys are made. But I also wanna know, do I pick Wade or Slade? So this is where I come to kick it with the guys. The Figure Booth. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Welcome back, Toy Fam. You've made it to another episode of the Figure Booth. I am your host, Josh, aka Prime to the First.
Hey guys, this is Nate, aka FigureFan_Nate, and you have reached episode 29, which we're calling They're Not Dolls.
Yeah, they're not dolls. We got a special guest, and I think that gives it away.
That kind of gives away a lot.
Yeah, we're gonna have someone very, very important on the show. He's kind of like a connected guy. I've been on this kick of The Sopranos. I've been watching a lot of The Sopranos lately, and I'm like, man, it makes sense. He's a friend of mine. He's a friend of ours. The way we need to introduce this guy, I'm like, he's definitely a friend. And when you think about, what's a friend, and taking it to the next level, he's not only a friend, he's an amigo. He's a amigo. He's one of the amigos. Doesn't have a album out there, but you guys all know him. Put your hands together for Cheynee180, 1/3 quarter. We'll ask him how much part of the Toy Migos. But let's welcome, he's made it to the Figure Booth.
Hey guys, what's up?
What's up, Cheynee180?
What is up, Cheynee? Thank you for being here, man.
Oh, thanks for having me. I wouldn't miss it for the world. You guys are definitely one of my favorite shows for sure.
Likewise, feelings mutual.
That means a lot coming from a Toy Migo.
Yeah, a made guy. I think of Cheynee as like one of the wise guys. A wise guy. He's a connected guy. He's a pillar in the community, and you don't want to cross him. I'm telling you, this Soprano kick I'm like, man, I'm like, in the toy community, there's guys that you're like, hey, you know who that guy is? He's a made guy. Like, you don't want to mess with him.
It's so funny that you say that, because when Dario came out here for SDCC back when that was a thing, I think it was the last year they had it, it was the last year they had it. He was like, man, I'm walking around with you. He's like, and he's like, dude, you're like talking to everybody.
Yeah.
He's like, I had no idea. And I'm like, I like to talk to people, man. And he's like, no. Like you know people. I'm like, I know some people.
It's like padrino status. They're like, oh, this guy, here, watch out, move out of the way. He's get first dibs.
What you're saying, he's like the Don of the toy community.
Oh, definitely. He's definitely a Don up there. He's, a boss of one of the families down there. He's boss of the Tomigo family.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
You must be stoked for the new movie then, the Mini Saints of Newark. Excuse me.
I don't get that reference at all.
I think I think there's a new movie or a show coming out, right?
They're
making a new Soprano movie based on like when Anthony Soprano was a kid.
Here's where you guys kick me off and tell me to go home. I've never watched The Sopranos.
Oh, okay. So that's it, guys. This has been the shortest interview for the Figure Booth. We introduced him, and now he's there's the door. No, the door is literally right behind him. Just go through that door.
And I don't think it's because I haven't ever had because I don't like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I've watched shows or movies and stuff like that before. It's just never come up.
Yeah.
And I actually thought about it. I think it was a couple months back. I'm like, you know what? I need to watch that. I hear great things about it, and I need to check it out. So.
Oh yeah. It's great. I mean, right now, HBO has been doing a marathon on it, and of course they plug the new movie that's coming out. So I was like, man, I should rewatch Sopranos. So I caught it, rewatching it and replaying it again because I just love that stuff. I'm so fascinated with that.
Heck yeah.
Just that whole genre, it's always cool.
Yeah.
Don't feel too bad because I haven't watched all of Sopranos either. So.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, now Figure Booth's down to 1. There is another. We lost another one. Bites the dust.
I'm off the show now. See you guys later.
Well, maybe you're only halfway kicked off because you've only seen half of it. So, you could come for like the first half of the show or the last half of the show, and then gotta go.
Yeah, I'll
bud.
just
Get
show
out
him
of
up the last like 10 minutes. There's Nate again. He won't
God
go
damn
away.
it.
Let's let him
here.
have the
Let's-
10
The
minutes.
first question is, did you finish it? No,
Yeah.
not yet. Okay, well, I'll see you next
I'm out.
week.
Let's
See
hit
you
the
later.
reset button on this episode.
Yeah. Have a good one.
Yeah, so we want to get to know you, Cheynee.
Okay.
Like Josh said, you've been a pillar of the community. I don't think there's anybody that I know that doesn't know what the Toy Migos is or what They're Not Dolls is. So you guys have really established a name for yourself. But that's not where you started. You started on Instagram with your own account, doing your own thing, which is more toy photography based.
Mm-hmm.
But you've been on IG for a really long time. Like I did some research. I did some creeping on you a little bit.
It
You
goes
started
back a
in
while.
2011.
Yeah.
And you started kind of posting your own personal stuff. You had like that Joker bill on there and some other things. And then you quickly got into toy photography.
Mm-hmm.
So is that something that you were already kind of doing, or were you inspired from what you saw on Instagram to start doing that yourself?
The early days of IG like that, it was like there was tons of like Lego Stormtrooper pictures everywhere, and I forgot that Yotsuba Danbo figure, that cardboard box guy.
Yep, you saw them everywhere.
Yeah, those were everywhere, and then that was kind of how I got introduced to like ACBA stuff. Like I was seeing a lot of that, and I was like, man, I could do this stuff. Like I pose all the time. Like I never really thought about doing it like that. And so I kind of jumped into that, and I had joined the ACBA group, and I had posted an initial picture, and that didn't go over very well. I thought I was kicking butt with that shot, man. I was like, oh, I've got these little finger lights in there with all these colors, and I had like the DC Direct what is that Batman mech thing? What is that called? There's a name for it. I always forget it.
The one from New 52?
Yes. That giant robotic
The one that helmet comes off.
The bat armor or whatnot. So I had that in there, and I had him tearing up some DCUC villains and whatnot. Posted that in there. I'm like, this is fire, man. This is fire. This is going to be great. Woo! No. Unfortunately, it was not. It was not.
And when you say that, you mean like you were getting some bad feedback, or?
Yeah, and it was cool because Boog himself commented in there. He's like, I noticed this got a lot of love on IGs, but over here that's not going to cut it, man. And there's this and this wrong with it, and you should do this. And at first I got mad. I got upset, and I was like, dude, screw this. Like, I don't need this. Like, what are they talking about? And then I calmed down, and I went, well, let me apply some of the things that he recommended. And it looked way better. And then I was like, he didn't have to comment on that. He could have just kept going. Yeah. So there was obviously something that he saw in there. It was like, okay, there's something going on here. And like, I found myself doing this, years later, where like, I'll jump in and put it in a comment and say like, I see what you're going for. You're just not quite there. Like, I know what it is that you're trying to do. And if you do this and this, that's going to help get you to that level that you're trying to reach. Right. And so I did that, and it started like, then I like took a step back, and I was like, okay, I'm obviously not good enough to be posting in here, so I'm gonna just grind out on my own and do my own thing. And so I would do a shot here or there, and they had the photo combat competition, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try that. And the way they had it set up back then was it was a weekly thing that for each round was a week, so you had a week to drop your shot for whatever the theme was. And I went through that. I think like I got to like the 4th or 5th round. And funny story, I actually beat Posable Productions in that.
That's one thing you have to make sure you state.
Yeah.
You're like, by the way, I beat
Yes,
this guy.
no,
Yeah.
like I always like remind Brandon of that too. I'm like, yeah, no, remember like when I beat you at that? And Beast Mode Mike Wang, he actually ended up beating me. So that's just a lot of fun, you know.
Right.
And after that, was either right around then it was right around then is when the podcast had started, and I took that idea and I'm like, you know what, like I really learned a lot in that like month, like, because it pushed me to this level that like I wasn't comfortable with, but it gave me this deadline that I had to hit, and I had to try and express this idea through my shot to put out there. And I'm like, I'm going to do that for the show. I'm going to make a thumbnail every week for the show. And nowadays I can't believe I came up with that idea, because it's horrible sometimes.
You put a lot of pressure on yourself to like do that every week.
Oh man. Like there's some weeks where, like I've heard you talk about it before, where you're like, you've got nothing in the chamber. There's nothing there. And unfortunately, putting out nothing isn't an option. So it's like, I got to dig deep, or, I've said this before, like if you see a thumbnail, like legitimately, if you see a thumbnail of Deadpool doing something random on the show, that means I had nothing. I had nothing. Like, I'm just like, we'll throw Deadpool in there. That'll work. So
he's always a good go-to.
Yeah. And it works. And it's funny because like, there's sometimes where I'm like, oh, I've got this great idea. It all like everything falls together, and it all like, okay, cool. Perfect. It came out the way I wanted it to. Everything looks great. And then it might get a little bit of response or whatnot. And there's other times where I'm like, well, you know what? It kind of came out like it's not exactly what I thought, but I guess it'll do. And then people are like, oh my God, I love this shot. And it's like, I don't get it, man.
It's funny how that happens. You get a shot that you might not be 100% confident about. You're like, I don't really know how I feel about this. And then you post it and it does so much better than you expect.
Yep.
It just goes to show that you have to kind of get out of your own head sometimes and just let it go out there and see how it does and get that feedback. But going back to what you said when you started, you went into the ACBA group and you posted that shot and you got that hard love. And, it's tough to hear that stuff sometimes, but man, I just resonate so much with what you say, when you started talking about that, because I think you need that feedback, and you need people to be honest with you, as hard as that is to take sometimes.
Yep.
And I've talked about this with Prime, and I've got a couple of guys that I go to when I do a shot, but before I post anything, I go to somebody else and say, tell me what you think about this. Because like I was talking about, you get trapped in your own head, you think it's good, and then it's not as good as you expect. And then it's so hard to hear that feedback.
You need that new set of eyes, because you've been looking at it for however long. And then you're like, okay. And it's funny because like my wife, like she's an art teacher. So like I can like pull her over and nice. What do you think? Yeah. And she's like, I'm not feeling that. And I'm like, well, forget that. Then I'll just, so I send a message to someone like, what do you think? They're like, I'm like,
You're like, she was right.
Yeah. And she usually is.
Yeah. Always. They always are.
There'll be times I'm working on something and she'll just kind of like walk through here and she's like, ooh, I like that. And I'm like, all right, that's okay. I'm on to something now.
Yeah.
And then other times I'll throw out that line to Johnny and I'm like, what do you think? And he's like, this or that. And like, it hasn't happened too many times, but there's a few times where like, I'll send Johnny a pic and he's like, looks good, dude. And I'm like, okay, all right. It must look good then, like,
right.
And I realized that I have something cool there where I can hit up Sergeant Bananas and send him a picture and be like, hey man, what do you think?
Right.
And he's gonna take the time out to look at it, so that's a blessing in itself. And then Adam, I love Adam so much because no matter what I send him, he just puts a little fire icon or the thumbs up, and I'm like, I love you, man. Like it could be like there's maybe been one or two times where he's like, I don't know about that one, and I'm like, yeah. And usually there's a reason for it. I'm like, yeah, I just took that right now because we've got to start the show in like an hour. So
Yeah. And it's good to have that support. And it's awesome that, people like you said, Sergeant Bananas are willing to, take the time out of their day to give you that feedback. And it just goes to show you that people that have these, bigger names in the community that you might be a little bit intimidated about, they're just as open to talking about toy shots because, they know the hobby, they understand it, they know the struggles that you go through, they know what works and what doesn't. And those are kind of the best people to be asking that kind of stuff from. So, I mean, I commend you for going to ACBA and posting that. And I understand the hard feedback that you got. And it's hard to hear that because you're like, man, I really like that shot. Like it hurts my feelings that you don't. But that stuff makes you grow,
Oh, absolutely. There's, I think, they do get a bad rap sometimes for, for doing that, for saying, hey, like that's not good. But you know what, like if you really want to learn and get better, like you go in there and you learn everything that you can learn.
Yeah.
There's always people sharing knowledge in there, always. And you can take it and utilize it and make yourself better, or you can get upset about it and walk away and be, mad about it. And I've seen both. I've seen guys that go in there and they get upset and they're like, screw this. And then they come back and they're like, you know what? I'm sorry. I kind of had an attitude about that. And
right.
I'm here. I'm ready to learn now,
Yeah.
Right.
I'm ready. And
you could have people that just say, cool, awesome, fire icon.
Yes.
And that's all you're getting, and then you post it and it doesn't do so well. You're like, I thought you guys thought this was awesome though. What's the problem? And then they're not being honest with you,
right?
And that doesn't help you either. Don't be fake with people. Just tell me what you really think. I've done the same thing with Josh, where I'll send him a shot and he comes back and he's like, I don't know, man, this isn't there yet. And I get frustrated because, as you know, Cheynee, it's not just as simple as, oh, let me just take another one and send it to you.
Yeah.
It's more of, if I still have the setup, awesome, that makes it easier. But if I don't, like, I got to start all over again.
Well, even if you have it set up, sometimes you're like, oh, my batteries are running low on that. Like, really? Do I?
You got
really? You don't like it? You don't like it? Like, are you sure you don't like it? Because
I'm like, I can't see none of his posts now. What happened?
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy. And then he's like, hold on, give me 5 minutes. I'm like, oh
Blocked.
no, now he unblocked me. Great. Okay, now we can continue talking.
Yeah, no, like it's so important to have that, and that even transcends, like, in your normal life. Like, it's important to have friends that are going to check you sometimes and be like, hey man, that's not cool, and I like, I feel blessed that I have friends that do that. I have friends that'll check me if need be, and you always need that. You always need to have people around, whether it be in toy photography or in your normal life. They're going to go, hey, that's not cutting it.
Right. And I think that's huge. That speaks volume about your character and the characters you want to keep in your circle. I've had a couple of discussions with similar friends, and I have a friend who's, he's always talking about how, like, hey, there's characters out there, and some are really good that you want to have in your story, and others you don't. But I think, it speaks volume how you're sharing that you thought you were, hey, my photography is on point, I'm going to submit it. And you had because I don't think everyone is able to reflect like that, where if they get that type of feedback, they're going to pause and be like, wait, I can learn from this. I think it's very reactive, where they're just like, oh, fuck that. They don't know what they're talking about, and just be dismissive. Right. But you can see the benefit. And I think it's very, very hard to take that as a lesson learned and say, I'm going to be able to learn from this. Because I think you're a perfect example of the progression on your IG page, where it was crazy because, like Nate said, we're creeping on your page. And I even thought, I'm like, wait a minute, I took a picture like that. And it was like the Marvel Select Zombies. And I'm like, I think all of us collectors at one point or another, when we get introduced into the toy community, we start just taking pictures of our collection, whatever is on the shelf, whatever we unbox, and it's just snap, 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 right?
Yep.
But ultimately, there's like a light bulb that goes off, and you have that aha moment where you're like, hey, what that guy is doing, that's really awesome. What did he do? And like, I remember coming across Johnny's page and other people's page where I was like, oh man, they're really taking their toy photography to a whole nother level. How can I emulate that? What is it that they're doing? And it looks like trash, and I'm just getting really close and, stuff like that. It was so funny when I'm seeing your picture and I'm like, fuck, didn't I take a picture like that? And I'm like, how did my picture end up on Cheynee's page? And I'm like, oh my god, I was having like this Inception type of, because I almost had it. I went through my page and I'm like, I know the picture dead on. And even
That's
like
funny.
the same three figures, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to find it. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm spending way too much time on this because now it's like I'm getting freaked out by this.
And
I'm like,
see
wait,
likes from like 3 years ago. He's like, what the hell are they doing on my
Yeah.
page?
and I'm like, wait, how did my picture get on Cheynee's page? But then he took it way before I did, and that's the thing. Like we start getting wrapped into like I'm the only one doing this, and there's nobody else, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And I was going more through your page. I'm like, look, there's a progression there where you can see where it's just pictures, and then all of a sudden, there's an idea, there's a storytelling, it's captured there. You know, lightning set, and you can see the progression happening. And again, it speaks to the volume of like your character, where you want to learn from it, you want to take your photography to the next level. And I don't think we've spent enough time of looking at your photos of where you're at now. And I think even each week, as you're putting your pressure, you're giving yourself that pressure of weekly photos, right? It's still every time you do put out a picture, I'm like, fuck, this one's my new favorite. Like, and I'm almost looking forward to that new thumbnail. And I'm like, damn, this one's even better than last week's. I'm like, man, it's crazy. So that's what excites me. I'm like, you've created so much more, but the pictures, I'm like, man, this guy is on point. I need to start setting up my photography. Because that inspires me. Like guys like you in the community are really inspiring. Not only are you guys inclusive and you want to include everybody and we can have open dialogue. We've had some great back and forth and stuff like that. But it's like what you're putting out there, it's so good where I'm like, damn, I need to take some lessons. I need to start having that open mind, you know, and empty out my cup and make room for more ideas.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Man.
Yeah, I think it's like anything else. You know, you're not going to start anything and be an expert at it. You know,
Nope.
You have to learn all the mechanics behind it. And it's, you know, I think there's a misconception sometimes where, oh, you're just taking a photo of a toy, you know, what's so hard about that?
Yeah.
And then you start doing it yourself. You're like, oh, shoot, this is way harder than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, you're talking about Cheynee's progression. I feel like I had a similar progression where your first few photos, you're really just focusing on an idea that's in your head. And you're like, okay, well, let me try to capture this in the best way I can think of. I got my figures posted up. I'll put them in front of a white wall or something and just get the shot. And then you start to think about, okay, well, I got to get away from this white wall. I got to start using a different background. So then I went from a white wall to a black wall, you know, something that's not as white. And I felt like Cheynee had a similar progression like that. Because you start to think more about, okay, it's not just the figures. I got to create an entire scene. And part of that is the background. And then after that, I see that Cheynee improves by getting his lighting better. Because you start to see his lighting starts to change. And then now he's got such diverse scenes where the background and the figures and the colors and just everything is blending so well together that's just that natural progression. That's that experience that he has now, because he can get an idea and he's already got probably 5 pieces of the 10 that he needs to get that idea already worked out in his head. He's like, okay, I know what I'm going to do here. I'll work out the rest as I go. But you don't get that without experience.
Yeah. Walk us through your what is your process?
Yeah, it's become very fine-tuned. So like usually for like the week, like I try to get my idea based down and locked in by like Monday. And then by Tuesday, I'm like, okay, let's kind of like just lazily set up. Or if I have like a distinct pose in mind, I'm like, okay, let's get this pose locked in. I'll get that set up on you know, the desk here and work on that and maybe kind of set up a little bit. By Wednesday, I got to get cooking because show's got to go on Thursday, you know? So it's like, usually like today would be my day where I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to get this thing knocked out. And so I'll get, you know, maybe like a good view on it. I'll bring the camera out like before, like the camera hasn't even come out yet. So,
wow. Okay.
So I'll get everything kind of set up in the way that I think it looks in my head. And I might kind of like, you know, look down and okay, there's this angle and that angle. And I think, okay, this is what I'm going to use here. And I've just been having a lot of fun with lighting. So I'll like get the lights out and I'll kind of like move them around or set them up and go, okay, like I want this kind of look. Okay, cool. Then I go get the camera. Then I bring out the camera and I look through the lens and I'm like, okay, so I need this and this. And then, all right, that looks a little bit better. So I'll throw some of that in there.
Yeah, smoke always makes it look better.
Oh yeah, yeah. And it's funny because I've had a lot of people say like, well, that's your signature thing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
kind of, yeah, it's become now. And like
Yeah.
it, I've found different ways to make it work, with like the shutter speed, you can make it look more you can get like the actual shape of the
Yeah.
clouds, or it can
Okay.
look more, more foggy in a
Okay.
sense. But then I'll like get a shot, and it's funny because like I don't know, like this might burn me later, but I don't usually take a whole bunch of shots because I
Oh
kind
wow.
of like
Okay.
have it already set up. And
Yeah.
there's been a handful of times where it's like click, that's exactly what I wanted, and I'll take maybe 5 or 10 more, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no, that first one was it.
Yeah.
The first one was it. That was it.
Yeah.
And there's times where like I'll be struggling, and that's when you see like 20, 30, 40 pictures
Yeah.
go through, because I don't think I had my idea laid out in my head, but I try to
Yeah.
get it all lined up in my mind first. And then, I'll get the camera out, and then like maybe adjust the lighting and stuff like that and go, okay, all right, I think I'm where I'm at. And then usually about that time, either the battery tries to threaten to die on me on the camera, or one of the lights goes out, or like,
Okay.
Yep.
the loom cube gets too hot. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, all right, this is, and like you guys had said before, like when I really want to like get just like all the way in there, like if I'm not in a complete rush and I have some time to like really enjoy the process, like I'll kick on some tunes, and I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, cool, then I'm really in it. Like you said, you reach
Right.
that flow state where it's like
Yeah.
the only thing that you're not focusing on at that moment is time, and that time just goes, it burns in that flow state, because you look and you're like, it's been 3 hours.
And you're like,
Okay.
oh shit, I've been in here this long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I need to like, because like for me, like I'll try and attack it sometimes when I get home in the morning from work. That's not the ideal time for me. Like, and I've fought that, and I've tried to fight it, and I never put out anything worthwhile in the morning when I get home from work. I have to come home and I can set some stuff up, but I'm
Mhm.
not shooting. Like I
Right.
stopped doing that because it never pans out. And like
Right.
I've gone back and forth with Dario. Dario is like my check guy, man. Like
Yeah.
he keeps me level. He keeps me where I need to be at all times. Like, cause he'll tell me, he's like, dude, no, just stop. Like, just
Yeah.
stop. He's
Yeah.
like, number one, you're not putting anything out good right now. You're not in the right mind state. He's
Yeah.
like, if you're tired, go get some sleep. And I've
Yeah.
learned, and I fought it. Oh, I fought it, and I fought it, and I fought it. And finally I just gave up, and I was like, I'll come home. I'll kind of set up, maybe touch a couple things, but for the most part, I'll get that rest in. And then when I wake up, I come in here, my mind is fresh. I'm feeling good. And those are usually the times where it's like 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5 shots. It's done. Like let's put a bookmark in it and call it a day. Then I can, go through a little bit of editing, and then it's good to go. And then I'm like, all right, I feel way better now. Now I just have to focus on getting the show going.
It's so true though, because like that's one thing I didn't realize for a long time, is that your mental state at the time you're taking a photo is incredibly important, because you have to be in it mentally, and you have to have the energy to want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not there, it's just going to be a struggle the whole time.
You're going to do nothing but fight yourself. You might as well take your head and slam it against the wall, because that's the equivalent of what you're doing. If you're too tired, like you're not going to pick up things that you normally would.
Right.
So like I know a lot of guys, they'll shoot at night, and it's like if your eyes are getting heavy and you're missing stuff, or even that, just like your eyes are getting heavy and you're like, oh, I just really got to get this done. I just really got to get this done. Stop. Like honestly, just stop right there, because from that point in time, anything that you do is you're going to come back the next day and look at it and go, well, I just wasted like 3 hours on, I took all those pictures. I moved the whole setup around probably 360 degrees a couple times. I, used all these lights in different areas, and none of it looks good. I don't like any of it because I wasn't in the right mindset.
Right.
Yeah, that's such a great point, because like you get to a point where you're getting tired of doing it. So then you start to change the shot to try to make it easier to accomplish almost. You're like, okay, well, this isn't working the way that I originally thought. And it becomes an entirely different shot than what you had originally thought it was going to be, all because of the fact that you just didn't take the time to rest up and then come back to it when you had your mind fresh. That's what I do a lot of my shots, like on the weekends.
Mhm.
You know, when I'm fresh, you know, I've got good sleep.
Yeah.
I've got ideas, you know, it's like right when I'm waking up, so it's fresh in my mind.
Yep.
But I have the same struggle. If I try to shoot after work at night, it just doesn't come out the way that I want.
Nope.
And it ends up being something completely different than my original thought process was, just because I'm trying to get something that I can use. And at the end of the day, I'm not happy with it, you know?
Nope.
So it's something that I really have never talked about on the show. So I'm so happy that you brought that up, because I totally agree with you about just being in the right mental state.
Sleep it's a crazy thing, because we get so busy in our lives and we're like, if I can get like 5 or 6 hours in, I'm good. Or, you know, like me, I'm real bad. I'm like, all right, if I get a solid 4, I'm good. I can rock for another 12, and then I can, you know, get another 4 in, and then rock for another 12. And, you know, I just keep pushing it until the weekend comes, and then I'm dead for like half a day, or I'm passed out on the couch when I'm supposed to be watching a movie or a TV show with my wife at like 7. You know, it's like, oh, you just knock out on the couch. I'm like, well, I'm tired. You know, it's just been
It's like you missed the Soprano marathon and you fell asleep again.
Yep.
Yeah, it's funny. Fridays used to be something where you go out, but then Fridays are like, oh man, that's not, I'm going to sleep early. You know, because now I'm just exhausted.
Oh yeah, no, I get the kid to bed, and then it's like, sit down on the couch, and then it's a good 10-15 minutes later, and it's like,
yep.
And I wake up and it's like 2 a.m. I'm like, oh, I need to go to bed.
All right, so it's not just me. That's Cheynee too. That's good.
Yeah, and then you hear about it.
Older.
Yeah, and then you hear about it from the wife. Well, you didn't stay awake that long. And you're like, yeah. And by the way, that's exactly how my wife sounds. She would love to hear that. Well, you didn't stay awake that long.
Oh man, what a great impression! I won't do my wife because I don't think I could do the voice, and I don't want to. I still want to come back next week. So
absolutely,
hey,
you know, it's important to have a place to do the show. So yes,
you gotta have a place to live.
Last time I was streamed from Dave and Buster's, so I want to make sure that doesn't happen again.
No, can't have that.
No, you know, and Cheynee, that's awesome that you're able to not only recognize your process, you show it on your IG, and now you're like aware of it. You know, like this is what I need. This is my checklist, and it's. To me, it sounds like a lot of it is mental, right? You plan out your shot. So you only have to take 1 or 4 shots where that works for you. You know, there's other photographers that they may do their planning with the shots. They take 60 or 80 shots or 100 shots or what have you.
And I've done both. You know, I've done both. Like I've gone through that where it's like, okay, I'm working as I go, and those are usually like when you turn on the music. Yeah, and you're like, I've got time to burn, so like I'm gonna kind of just. I'm going to feel this out. I'm just going to kind of roll with it.
Right.
But other
See
times,
where it takes me.
Other times I just don't have time. Like I always am tapped for time all the time.
And that was going to be my next point, where a lot of us collectors, I think we have so many different hobbies and just life in general, right? So I think collecting is part of how we do this balancing in life, spending some time towards collecting, whether it's going out, finding some figures, doing the hunt. That takes a lot of time, especially if you're going to hit up several stores, right?
Yep.
And for an individual like you where you have you're putting out content not only from a picture standpoint, but you know what led to creating the Toy Migos, you know, and that I think that takes on a lot to entertain a good portion of the community, where a lot of us, I know myself, we count on you guys to be there on a weekly basis. You know, there was a point, oh man, when you guys were doing the quickie minis for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then that went away, I was like, what the hell? I was having like withdrawal symptoms. I was like, what is going on? What am I supposed to do with Mondays? What am I supposed to do? What the hell? I think that was the great thing, where it inspired, I know at least for me, and when I was talking to Nate, I'm like, we need to do it just for an hour, because I love that hour of power where if I couldn't catch it, and I started first listening to you guys on the audio portion, and to your point, the hour was perfect because that was my commute. And I was like, I need more of this. And that's where my idea came for the figure booth. It's just an hour, because my commute was an hour, and I think a lot of individuals' commute is an hour. And I love what you guys were doing.
Yeah, I love that your guys' is an hour. Like it's perfect. Like there's so many weeks that's how I kick off my commute, and to the beginning of my week is on Sunday night. I get in my car, boom, new figure booth is out. Let's do this. And it just cues up that boop, 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 boop.
Yeah.
And then I'm just driving down the road, and then like usually it's so like there's been a couple times where it's like I pull up and I park in and it's like bum 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 the end or like the
You're
whatever
like,
the
oh,
whatever the ending
Yeah.
music is, and it's like
Yeah.
literally I got in my car, hooked up everything, all right, drove, and then it's like as soon as I'm pulling into work, it's over, and I'm like, oh, that worked out perfect.
You're like, thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like that's the best.
Well, first of all, thank you for being a avid listener, man. We really appreciate that. It means a lot to hear somebody like you is appreciating the content.
Well, the first time I listened, I was like, dude, this takes me back. Like it really like it threw me in, a time warp in a sense because it reminded me of when me and Ernie first started, man. And I've told you guys that before. I don't know if I've told you on air, but I've definitely told you off air that, the show reminded me of when me and Ernie would sit in this room and we would like get close to this microphone and talk and whatnot, and it really brought back a lot of those old vibes and whatnot. I'm like, dude, I love this. Like the conversation and the way that you guys structure the show and everything. It was like, oh, this is so cool, man. Like it reminded me of like simpler times almost. Like, the show used to be a lot like that. And now it's become something completely different and it's growing in different ways that I never thought would happen. I'll get to that later, but originally the original concept, like I had mentioned this on the DMC show, is my good friend that I grew up with. He says, hey man, like I listen, or my coworker, he does horror podcasts and he has, all kinds of crazy guests. He's had celebrities and all kinds of stuff on there. He's like, you should do a toy podcast. And I'm like, I don't think anyone's going to want to listen to me. Like, I really don't think, like, I don't know. Like I do kind of know my stuff. Like I've been like, cause I never stopped collecting, like from as a kid on, like I kind of slowed down in my late teens and in my 20s, but I was still buying. Like it was like, I would still go hit the Walmart and get the Legends and pick up some of those Transformers when they're kind of like redoing the making them more G1 inspired.
And the retro boxes and stuff.
And the Soda Street Fighter stuff, I had to have that, so I was still collecting, but I wasn't rooted in the community because there really wasn't a community then. And it was just kind of like, I was just a collector, casual collector. But then it was like, I got married and it was like, well, all right, I can't go out and hang out with the buddies as much anymore. So what's up with these Legends over here? All right. Well, I did need that. And well, I do want to get all the other soda of this. And then it just kind of like kept growing and growing. And my buddy kicked that idea to me. And I was like, well, there's one person I know that I'm pretty sure he'd be down and I better ask him. And, I met him through a friend of mine. Like I met Michael in second grade and I've known Michael pretty much my whole life. And, his older brother, Ernie, was really into toys just like I was, And so every time we'd meet up or talk or I'd see him, we would just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk toys and Star Wars and Transformers. And, like I would see him out and about when I go hunting and like, dude, we'd stop and we would talk for like hours. We'd be standing there in Toys R Us just talking and talking and talking. And I was like, I could carry a conversation with that guy. I could do it. And little known fact, and I've mentioned this a couple times, there was originally a third Toy Migo. And that was someone else that I grew up with. And he had moved away to Mississippi. And at that point in time, we couldn't quite get the wireless thing, like we have here set up. And so it just kind of like fell off. But, then it was just me and Ernie, and we're sitting in this room, and we were that first episode is so green, man. Like you could tell we're kind of nervous, and that's what was so great about listening to you guys in the beginning. Like there's that nervousness there, and you're like, I'm not sure what we're gonna do, but we're gonna do this or that, and so we kicked that off, and we started doing that, and then we had met up with the RLU guys and got involved with them, and I got the privilege of calling El Sinestro, one of my good friends. Like I haven't talked to him in a while, but man, I love that guy. I love Rich. Rich is one of my favorite people, man. Rich is one of the nicest, most sincere, giving people you'll ever experience in your life. Like he's great people. And, we've gotten to the point where like our families have like, they all get along, like our wives get along, like it's great. I think our wives talk more than we do now. Like, so, we got involved with them and we did some crossover episodes and joined the RLU network and started putting out episodes on there. And, we were doing that for a while, and Ernie was on every single episode for the longest time. Like he was on every RLU episode, no matter what show it was. He was there, man. He was spreading himself thin everywhere. And so we did that, and then Sergeant Bananas came along. He's like, hey, I listened to the show. Would you guys be cool with having me on? And me and Ernie like, yeah, of course. Like, are you kidding me? And through this whole time, like, even now, like it's not as bad now, but it was way worse. Like when we just used to do just the audio, like I didn't think anyone was listening. I never thought anyone was really like tuning in. And little did I know, like we were slowly like, this little snowball was rolling down the hill slowly, but it was, it was picking up a little bit of momentum. And we had Johnny on, and then he just kept coming on, and then he was a regular for a while. And then we had Dario on, and Dario is I can never say enough good things about Dario. And people have made fun of me before because they're like, dude, you build Dario up so much. I'm like, that's because that's the impact that he has made on me as a person. He's such like Dario is the best, like period. Like Dario is the end all be all. I can't express how much I love Dario, And so he's given so much to us and helped us out exponentially. He jumped on the IG and was just knocking it out on the IG, just making it a place to be,
Oh yeah.
Right.
And we kept moving forward with that. And then there's a point where we took a hiatus for a while, and it was like, like schedules weren't lining up and we were having a hard time getting, shows out. And it was like, you know what? Like, I'm kind of burnt on this. You guys may be burnt on it too. Let's take a step back for a while. Let's see if this is something. Let me go off and see if this is something I really want to do. Like because it's fun, but it's like I'm not having fun right now. And if it's something I'm not having fun with, then it's forced. It shows, and I don't want to waste people's time. There's people that are listening, and I don't want to waste their time with it. And so we took I think it was like a 3-month-long hiatus. And in that hiatus, it resonated in me. It's like, no, I love this. I love this. I love doing
you started
this.
missing it probably.
Oh, I did. But I noticed one thing too, that when I took that hiatus, I wasn't taking nearly as many shots anymore because there wasn't that urgency to pump out another shot. And so it was like, there's that. And then I was missing it. I was missing, meeting up with my friends every week and talking toys and, talking about the new or, missing out on something or, like all of that. And it was in that hiatus too that I had met Adam. And Adam, followed me home from the liquor store and he never left.
Oh man! Somehow I got the visual, and I'm like, "Yep." He's just like stalking you out, and you're like,
with his little tail all wagging and everything. And it's funny because like everybody that we've come in contact with has brought on, they've added a layer to everything that we're doing because a lot of times they'll poke fun and say I'm Overlord Cheynee and yada yada yada, and it's like it's not that. I'm just a member of this
Don
team.
Cheynee.
Yeah, Don Cheynee. I don't view myself like that at all. Like I'm only as strong as we are as a group.
And I think that's what makes you more of a Don because you don't see yourself like that. Everyone's like, "Oh no, like we need to pay respects to Don Cheynee."
Yeah,
but it's like, but you're like, no, and it's like, nope. Let's all get the chair. Let's all hoist them up. And
I would get off of the chair immediately.
Well, nobody wants to hang out with the guy that keeps boasting themselves, right? It's like, oh, great, here goes Cheynee talking about himself again. They want the guy that's humble because they probably look up to you and they're like, wow, he doesn't even think of himself like that. That's even cooler.
And really, I think it's the impact that you bring, of course, it's not just you, right? But it's the circle that you bring to the table, and the fact that you're aware of it, you're like, nope, it's not about me. It's just about all of us having a good time. That's really what I think resonates with me, and all of us collectors. It's like, man, you don't. Hopefully, you do see the impact that you do, but it's because you're bringing everybody. I think that's why we all hold you like, we're like, oh yeah, you're freaking awesome. You're the Don, because it's a huge part of our daily process where sometimes life, it gets really hectic. And we get so frustrated with the hunt, right? Or we get frustrated with what we missed out, or we get frustrated with the real life shit that we have to deal with. Let me get away. And that's what I love. Like, you guys give us that outlet. We're like, hey, for the next hour, let's just forget about everything, you know. And I love what Ernie says, how this is your time to get away from it all. And sometimes that connection, it's like, it's almost an addiction where it's like, I need my daily Toy Migos every single day.
And I wish I could keep doing it every day. I really do, you know, but it had got to the point where the wife was like, hey, I know. And it was initially her idea to do the quickie minis. That was her sole idea. And you know, I got to give her credit, man. She's one of the most influential parts of all of this as well, because if she wasn't okay with it, it wouldn't be a thing. You know,
right. But you gotta have people in your corner, especially people that you care about, that are supportive. Otherwise, it's like, man, I don't want to ruin this relationship.
Well, she gives up a lot of her time with me to do this stuff, and I appreciate that, and I let her know that, you know. And it's funny because she doesn't listen a lot, but there'll be times when she'll listen. She's like, "Why are you talking good about me on there?" You know, and it's like, like, because I have to. Like, you're my teammate, you know, like in none of this would be possible without her, you know, and, you know, none of it would be possible without Ernie. And that's just where I'm at. And like you had said, it's like, that's really all I care about, is just everybody hanging out and having a good time. I'm all about fun, man, you know? And like, if we, you know, get opportunities to have cool guests on, that's even better. You know, that's awesome. That's just the cherry on top. But like it's crazy, because it's like gone to this like other level. Like, it was, you know, at that level when we done the hiatus, and then we got done with the hiatus, and it was like all systems are firing, the cylinders are firing. Now we're back in it. Let's do this. Let's jump on YouTube and let's murder this thing right now. And we were, man, through the you know, the pandemic, when we were doing the quickies and stuff, like myself, Ernie, Dario, and Adam, like I like to use the phrase the aces in the places. Because the aces were in the places. We were having fun, and people were having fun listening, and those are some of the best shows, you know. And it's grown even more with the Discord and the chat Migos now. That, you know, there's like the quickie mini as it was, because we just had our last quickie mini yesterday. So the quickie minis are officially over. The show is being rebranded to something else. But you know, the cast that we currently have in that spot is myself, Chamba, Jurassic Jesse, Lago, and we're having a lot of fun too. You know, I think we're just kind of growing as a new cast for this new show, and you know, getting used to each other and growing and whatnot. And it's like, the idea is like, okay, well, the quickie minis are done, but I've got this other idea, and I'll give you guys a first glimpse, or a first sneak peek, if you want, because I haven't talked about it anywhere else. So this is a figure booth exclusive, if you will.
Awesome.
So when
this is going to be a question, so I'm glad that you're, you know, broaching the topic and that you want to show something, because I was going to say, like, I want to know what it is. You kind of alluded to it a little bit in your last quickie mini, but you didn't really give us a whole lot. You're like, more to come.
Very secretive, very Dawn of him.
Well, I like the surprise factor. I thrive off the surprise factor. I think a lot of it comes from being in a band a long time ago, and like when you do stuff in a band, like you wait, you know, wait, and then you wait till everything's ready. You know, like especially if you like get together and you're starting a new band, like you go in the studio, you record your demo, you get all your merch made, you do it all, and then you drop, man. You drop, and everything fires at once, and you're like, okay, here we go. Like you want to make it a big thing, you know. You want to get that hype behind it, you know. And so I'm going to be guilty of doing that. I will always do that. Like,
that's smart though.
I find myself as a promoter, like sometimes, because it's like I want you to get excited when it's like I got to tune in on Tuesday. I got to know what this is
yeah,
about.
what is going on here?
Yeah.
No, I think that's great, and I think a lot of people resonate with that, and I think that's part of your success is that you always build that hype, or at least you're really good at kind of like talking about things that are relevant and that are going on in the community. And I think that's probably why you guys were so successful to start out with, is that I remember back when I was collecting, back in the day, I don't know, years ago, there was just no resource for me to go to talk about figures. And it was like this thing that I just couldn't talk to everybody about it, because you'd bring up the topic with a friend and they're like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
Action figures. No, I'm not interested in it at all. Get out of here, geek.
Or your friends might be like, that's cool, man, that you're into that.
Yeah, right.
That's pretty much it.
You guys want to go to a bar or something?
Let's go drink beer and try and find women. How about that?
So people were clamoring for something like just to relate to. There's other guys in the world that think like I do, that are interested in the same things that I am. So when Toy Migos, came into what it is, it's like that's my resource right there. These are the guys that I can resonate with, and you're exposing people to other people in the community that they probably didn't know existed, and it was like the rise of social media around the time that you guys got started, and it's grown into what it is now, because you guys were kind of riding that wave the whole time. You went from audio to being video, doing the live streams, things like that. One of the first people that I saw doing it. So I feel like you've always kind of been with the times. Yeah. And I think that really resonates with people, and it helps them create this community that we've all sort of benefited from. And now look where it is today. We got live streams everywhere. You got different guys doing reviews.
There's toy shows every day of the week, man. There's toy shows every day of the week, and that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing, man. Let me pause everybody right now, okay? If you are not subscribed to these guys, hit the bell, notifications, all the deal. Thumbs up, share with your friends. Say, hey, honestly, if you're coming here to listen to me, you better be subscribed to these guys. You better listen to these guys. So thumbs up, leave a comment, the whole spiel. Do it right now.
Thank you, Cheynee.
Oh, absolutely.
And now that they've done that, Cheynee, let's give them the sneak peek. We've been teasing us. Okay. I'm almost about to fall out of my chair. So I have one cheek. That's it. Like half of a cheek on. I need to scoot back.
So the concept of it is, I wanted to get to know the Chat Migos more, because the Discord is, if you want to find me, honestly, go to the Discord, join the Discord. That's the easiest, quickest way to find me. I'm always in there. I'm always hanging out with those guys. And they have Toy Talks every Monday and Wednesday, which is spanned out to, they kind of do it every day now. But I found something in that Discord, in the Toy Talks. I'm like, there's something going on here that people would love to hear. Like, I'm enjoying being a part of it, but I think everyone else would like to hear it, And I'm like, this would be awesome, because the quickie minis are pretty much done. So what if I pull these guys in and we can do this? And the title of the show, I'm gonna debut it right now here. Figure Booth exclusive. The name of the show is going to be called Chat Migos Assemble.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, damn.
So nice.
The concept is, we're going to have a different Chat Migo join the panel every week, and we're going to, sit down and talk with one of the Chat Migos,
Dude,
one of the people that are part of this, like I said, we're all one big team, like we wouldn't be anything without the Chat Migos. So it's kind of a thank you to the Chat Migos. And it's, a way to kind of like pull what I said was going on in the Discord out so that everyone can enjoy it. Because
so glad. I was gonna say, I'm so glad, because I was gonna bring up the Discord, and it came. I'm glad it came out naturally, because that Discord is always off the hook. I may be lurking in the shadows, or just because during the day, that's my only time I have to, between work and everything else that I have going on with my own IG. But I saw that Toy Talk, and they were going on, I want to say maybe for 2 straight days. And I'm like, oh man, there's a lot of good stuff in there. But when I go in there, I'm like, and sometimes people will tag me, or like, Omar V is really good. Berserk, like there's so many Chat Migos that are just freaking phenomenal. They're always on it, right?
Guys, man.
And it's like, when I saw that Toy Talk and I saw how many people were in there just chatting away, I was like, oh my God, it's like, what is going on there? I want to be part of that. But if I go in there, like I'm gonna neglect the kids, the wife, the job, the orders, like everything's gonna go by the wayside, and
you're gonna spend money.
that's it. I'm gonna get enabled all over, and then I get lectured by Kevin and Mario. They're like, that's not how it works, Josh. You don't get points by buying stuff for yourself. You have to enable other people. I'm like, you know how much enabling Chamba does to me? Like, I hear him, like, he'll just put links in here and this Discord and in that chat, and I'm like, oh my god, like that's it. I'm done. I'm done. So that's awesome. That's coming. That's coming. That's so freaking because I love the freaking
man.
Toy Amigos Discord.
Yeah, talk about a way to get the community involved even more. Like, come on the show. Let us know who you are. That
gets me excited.
So that when you see these names in the chat, you're like, oh yeah, I remember him. I know how, that's this guy who collects this. It's just, it creates more a personal relationship with the people that have been so supportive of your show. And now it's your way of showing support to them. Like, let me put the spotlight on you. Yeah. You might not be somebody that gets a lot of attention, so let me help you out, or I want to get to know who you are because you've been hanging out with us for so long, for so many years, just being a chat migo.
Yep.
Like that's genius, dude. That's
and
awesome.
I caught the replay the day after my birthday, and I saw the chat was going crazy. Like, everyone was wishing me happy birthday. But then I was like listening to it, right? And then you start seeing, and then my wife's like, "What? Who's singing happy birthday to?" I freaking lost it. I was like, "Oh, this is like." I'm gonna look. I even replayed it for her. She's like, "That's freaking." I'm gonna look at the chat, and then she's like, "Oh wow, I'm like, yeah, that's just chat amigos. That's just Cheynee singing me his Marilyn Monroe impression of and that was so because I had it up all high. It's like she was getting ready to work. She was like, "Is someone singing happy birthday to you?" It was so dude. So that was epic. Thank you so much for doing that.
Like that.
Made my day.
For something that's funny though, it does. It makes you feel special. You're like, dude,
absolutely.
They're featuring me on their show, and all these chat amigos are supporting me. Like, how cool do I feel right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was the coolest kid and the only kid on the block. Yeah. I felt cool.
You're showing your wife, you're like, look, honey, look how popular.
She's like, nerd.
Yeah.
Oh, my wife trips out sometimes. She's like, they're mad at you because you're running late. And I'm like, yeah, no, look at the comments. And the comments are just like roasting me in the comments. I'm like, so I kind of need to start now. So you need to shut that door and leave so I can get going here.
That's funny.
And she's like, oh my gosh. All right. So no, it's going to be a lot of fun. We've got it's awesome because I was struggling with this issue as things were growing of wanting to do everything on my own.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, well, maybe this or that. I'm like, I can't do all of this anymore. Like, it's grown to a point to where I can't handle all of this anymore. I can't do it myself. There's no way. I can't spread myself that thin. And when I initially learned that is when, Dario started handling the Instagram, and it showed me that was the best thing that I could ever do is like, if somebody wants to help out, let them help you out.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And, my wife had talked to me about it. She's like, let him do it, man. And I'm like, okay, you do your thing. You do your thing. And it just, man, it went crazy. And then, Papa Schmitty joined the Discord, and he was like, hey, can I clean it up around here? And I'm like, dude, I know nothing about Discord. So you do your thing. Yeah. And unless it's something I completely disagree with, I'm probably 99.98% going to agree with you, and you call the shots here because I don't know anything about it. And if you want to put your time into this, I'm more than happy to let you do it.
Yeah.
And look at what he's made out of it.
Oh, yeah.
He's made this amazing fun place to be that I enjoy, and I go in every single day, and unfortunately Dario couldn't do the Instagram anymore. So, Lago, he was like, I'll do it. And it's like, okay, awesome. Yeah. And everybody wants to help out so that I can do more stuff like this and kind of help push it in other directions, and it's like I said, like, I can't take credit for a lot of this stuff.
Right.
Like, I can't take credit for the meetup. That wasn't my concept. That wasn't my idea. That was all Adam. That was all Adam's organizing. All of his work and love went into that. And so when people were thanking me, like, I can't do that. Like, I'm not going to take credit for that.
Yeah.
You need to thank Adam because Adam is the one that set that up, So we've got a lot of great people that are helping me out that I don't, I can't thank enough, and it's because of all these people that we're able to do what we do at the level that we do it, Ronald Ramos is pivotal in some of the, the merchandising, like the hat that you're wearing right now, that wouldn't be possible without Ronald Ramos. Like there's so many things that I can't thank these guys enough for, and that they want to spend their time helping out with. And thank you guys. If you're listening to this, thank you. I appreciate you more than you'll ever know.
Yeah. And I get it though, because it's like your baby, and it's one of those things like, no, I got to manage everything. This is a certain way I got to do this. This is the way I want it to be. And it's hard to kind of give those reins to somebody else, but then you think about it, these are all people that have been here supporting me. Yeah. And then you see, okay, they just want me to be successful. That's what they're here. That's what they're trying to do.
And then, I don't even think about it in me. I think about it as we're trying to do this. Right. It's us. Right. We're all doing this together.
Yeah. And it sounds like that's what the progression is into what you're going to do now, which is with the Chat Migos. You're like, okay, let me put the spotlight on the guys behind the scenes that make all this work, or at least come and support me all the time. Because without them, this wouldn't be a thing anymore.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't. And that's why it's very important that everybody out there listening right now, you hit the subscribe button. You leave a thumbs up, you leave a comment, and you play this or any other episode of your choice over and over again. Let's get these guys up there. Let's get their hours knocked out. Let's get their subscriber count up so these guys can start, doing super chats and stop their show to read your super chat.
Yeah,
let's do dream. That.
I want to be.
Let's get these guys to the next level, everyone. Like let's do this. We can do this.
You're amazing, Cheynee. You can't tell me you have any experience at all.
Yeah, too kind. And you guys have had some killer episodes. That's overall, I think that's the part of the pillar in the community that I keep referring to, because it's very inspirational. Where there was when you guys had several people where I'm like on the edge of my seat and just glued. Had my phone, and I'm not even like I'm leaving the freaking quesadillas burned, and my kids are pissed off at me. They're like, "Dad, you burned it again." I'm like, "Damn, that's the third one." I'm like, I blamed. I had to pause it. I'm like, I don't want to watch them. And you know what? It's so funny because it goes hand in hand, right? Because I pause it, or I'm like, I gotta catch the replay. I'm like, no, but then I'm gonna miss out on the chat. And there's a lot of interaction that goes in on the chat too. And I'm like, I don't want to be watching it. If I watch it on the replay, it's just me by myself. Like I want to be. It's the experience that you guys are creating. Whether it's a super chat you guys read, whether it's like private chat conversation that's going on in the chat and has nothing to do with whoever the guest is. And sometimes it does. There's just so much that goes on that quesadillas, dinner's being burnt and my kids are getting mad. But I'm like, sorry, I'm gonna you guys have to be mad at me for the next hour or so. I'm like, don't catch me on a Thursday because my kids won't eat till after 10. So. But yeah, I love it, man. I love it. I'm excited to see what else comes out. So
yeah, I'm really excited for the future of what you guys are doing.
Yeah, we've got another thing that's in the woodworks right now. Can't talk about that yet. Yeah, but it's more branching out. I'll put it that way.
That's awesome
to put it that way. But
the Toy Migo Network.
Yeah. That's hopefully awesome. Eventually, and it would be, one of my things is I want this show to run when I'm not there now. Yeah. So if I can't make it, I don't want you guys to miss out on an episode. Like I want to make sure that you're going to get that episode every week. If I'm out of town, it's still going to be there for you. Maybe I won't be there, but the cast will still be there. Yeah. We'll have someone to fill in for me, and I want the ball to keep rolling. Let's not miss out on a week just because Cheynee couldn't do the show. Like I want to knock that out probably by the end of the year and make sure that you guys are getting a show no matter what, even if I can't make it.
Yeah, that's genius, man. You're just making it work at all times, whether or not you're there. It's like, okay, I trust you guys enough. Let's just keep it rolling. I'll join when I can, but if I can't, you still got something that's going on.
Yeah, when I told Adam that, he was like, "What?"
It's like we can't do without Ron Burgundy. Can't keep it going without our lead.
Well, you've created something enough, to where you feel like you can do that now, and it's got its own following, and it's kind of like its own engine is like generating, and it's just going, and you're there to kind of guide the ship, and you're adding new things as it evolves, but you've already kind of got the steam train rolling, and there's not a whole lot that's going to be able to stop it now. So it's more of just like facilitating that and just keeping it going. But yeah, I mean, just like Cheyney's talked about with us, and kindly enough, he's supporting us, but make sure you go support him too. I'm sure you guys are already here because of who he is and he's the guest. But if you're not subscribed for whatever reason to Toy Amigos, go subscribe to them, hit the notification bell, like all their videos, maybe put them on repeat and just, walk away for a little while if you want, just to get those views up. But yeah, go support Toy Amigos. You're gonna see some really cool new stuff coming, and I'm really excited to see where it goes from here, because I think the sky's the limit for you guys.
Yeah, hopefully.
But Cheyney, I do have a small little piece of beef to settle with you.
Okay.
I can't wear this hat when I go out hunting.
No, you can't.
Can't wear it.
You can't.
What the heck? Like, I walked into Target and I saw like a guy saw my hat and like he started speed walking. I was like, oh, this motherfucker.
Yeah, we got amigos in here, man. Run
and then like he was already at the aisle and he's like, oh, I recognize the hat. And I was like, son of a bitch. I was like, that's it, first and last. He's like, yeah, I knew. He's like, I knew you were collected the minute I saw the hat. And I was like,
that's a great thing for me. Like,
yeah. So now I have to I just I put it on after I get my haul. I put it on. And
maybe when we get back to normal again, that could just be like con attire, like could rock that for cons and whatnot. Yeah. I'm so self-conscious about that. It's not even funny. Like today I'm rocking my Darkstalkers, for you.
Oh, yes.
So
nice.
I'm doing that. But when I go out hunting, like I don't do comic book shirts or anything. Like if anything, it's a blank t-shirt.
Yeah.
Or maybe a band t-shirt. Yeah. Something like that, because I've had that happen before. Like I'll walk in and I'm walking and when you're walking in, there's that guy and you guys both look at each other and then he puts the two and two together that you're wearing like a Marvel t-shirt or an X-Men t-shirt, and then he just starts speed walking and you're like, oh, all right, it's on. It's on. So then it's on, man. So I understand that. I get that, but I love it at the same time.
Yeah.
That's the first I've heard of that. So that's
man.
amazing.
And I was like, I'm gonna save this. And then when I knew you were gonna be on, I'm like, I'm gonna save it for when he comes on, because this just happened to me like 3 weeks ago. I walked in, I was like, I'm gonna go with my hat. All right, cool. And then I was like, wait, what? Like he gave me like a weird look. And I was like, huh. And then when I got to the aisle, he's like, yeah, I saw that hat and I knew you were gonna come down here. And I was like, motherfucker. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna go look in trash bins and like behind puzzles or something, because gotta find someone's stash.
And it's not like you can wear your you're toying around a Sentinel shirt.
Oh yeah, no, I can't. That's not gonna work.
Nothing toy related. Yeah,
no,
can't do it anymore. There's just too much merch out there that people recognize.
Yeah,
so that was pretty funny.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. Oh, that's too good. Ernie's gonna love that.
So as we're getting close to the end, we usually have a segment for our guest, and it's called the Dirty Dozen.
Okay.
So it's going to be 12 slides. It's kind of like a fast round. First thing that comes to your mind. Yeah, rapid fire. First thing that comes to your mind, and then we can have like a quick chat about why.
Okay.
What triggered that? These are the little triggered. And it could be either it's going to be either like a toy manufacturer or a line, I think,
or a Van Damme movie.
We had references, and
we handed it off to our assistant, which our assistant's name is Cheyenne, and she sometimes does kooky stuff with it. So sometimes she sticks to the script, sometimes she goes left.
I'll never live that down. As soon as I said, I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe you did that.
That's our assistant. So blame her.
That was great. When I was driving on my commute, I was like, oh man, that's too good.
I know. That's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm like, he's gonna listen to this and be like, geez.
It's like first and last time I'm gonna have this.
Who the hell is this
fucking guys on our show?
Yeah. God.
All right.
I love it.
Dirty Dozen.
The Dirty Dozen.
Here we go.
All right, first one. DC Bombshells.
I miss them. I love them. They were great.
Great figures, right?
Oh, I love that first wave was killer. I wish we would have got the third one.
I feel like DC directors, they hate their fans because when something is going well, they just get rid of it.
Or
Oh
they
my,
chop it down to nothing. That second wave had no accessories. The first one was so good. We were talking about it in the Discord last night, actually.
no, that's funny.
About this and how, hopefully since DC Direct is under that McFarlane banner now, that they're able to like kind of pump out more stuff because, they're primarily like McFarlane's primarily sticking with the Batman stuff. So maybe that DC Direct banner is going to be able to put out some other stuff that people want,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, there were killer figures. Like I was so pumped, and the minute they started, I was like, of course.
Yeah. You
Hit
had
gold.
a great thing, and then you just threw it away.
Yeah, it's like icons. As soon as they hit their stride, it was gone.
Yeah.
Or Essentials
What
too.
are you doing?
Essentials was like, okay, I can
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of get into
Right.
this because
Yeah.
there's not many accessories, but I'll buy into it. I still like these.
Oh yeah,
Same
solid.
scale as Bombshells, same articulation
Yeah.
schemes. Like,
Yeah.
okay,
Mhm.
all right, I'm not leaving yet.
Yeah, and everything was working. I love the freaking articulation on some of those figures. Like they didn't have that funky DCUC crazy joint. Oh man.
Yeah. Those were
it's the hot girl that broke our hearts.
Yes. Yeah. Or just ended up getting knocked up too soon in life.
No, I missed my chance. Damn it.
Yeah, missed the channel.
Darn.
Yep. Marvel
Legends.
Oh man, those two words mean so much to me. Like it's been a staple of my life for 20 some odd years now.
Yeah.
I think around there. Like, yeah, I remember being so excited when they announced these, reading in Toy Fair and Wizard, like, oh, what super articulated? They're bigger, but they're really articulated. And okay. And then seeing them in person, I was like, man, this Thor is huge. Like, holy cow. Like, and then they started doing X-Men, and then it was like, let's go. In the words of the almighty Hound, let's go, baby. Let's go, baby.
And it was so awesome back then too, like for Toy Biz when they were doing it, especially with the variants. Like then I was going crazy. I was collecting them all, going from like 5-inch, very limited articulation to the Toy Biz era. And now you feel like you had Wolverine straight out of the comics, and you're like, oh, then now I'm hunting variants, gold foil. Like it was crazy, and they were somewhat easy to acquire. Like you'd walk into any store and there was Legends. The pegs were full of Legends.
Yep.
So yeah,
not the new ones, but there's Legends there.
Yeah, that's Marvel Legends. That's a relationship we love and hate. Because every once in a while I threaten. I'm like, that's it. I'm done with Legends, and then they reveal something. I'm like, okay, I'm back in.
As long as they keep putting out X-Men stuff, I'm gonna keep buying. And that's just where I'm at. Like I have not been happier. I couldn't be happier with the Marvel Legends line right now. I'm so smitten. Like I finally got it. There's movement on one of my Sentinels. Nice. One of them is in Arkansas right now.
Okay.
The other 3 are still in Georgia.
Along with mine.
Yes, where yours is. Yeah. And many other people's Sentinels. So one of them's on the way, and oh man, just so many X-Men. I can't.
I'm there with you. I'm loving it right now.
Yeah.
Super 7.
Oh, I love Super 7. I love a lot of the stuff that they do. I'm excited for Thundercats. I love those turtles. I gotta get that Surfer Mikey, man. Like I think.
Oh yeah.
There you go. There's the new Mikey. I still gotta get my hands on that. Yeah,
he's great.
I think Turtles and Peanuts come to mind immediately for me for Super 7. And Peanuts because my wife loves Peanuts.
Oh, okay.
And so, she loves Snoopy and Charlie Brown and all that. And our first stop whenever we go to Comic-Con is that pop-up that they have at STCC at their shop there every year. Like that's the first place we go on preview night, man. We hit up that pop-up and wait in line and go in and buy stuff, Hey,
so if it wouldn't have been for you and Dario on just consistently being so consistent of enabling when the Thundercat was out, and then I was like, fuck, they have a point. Where else am I going to get it?
Where are you going to get it at?
Yeah. You two convinced me. That's it. I went so hard on Super 7.
I know some people have differing views and whatnot, but sometimes you got to understand when you don't have any cards at the table.
Right.
And I think that's really where, a lot of collectors don't understand. Like you may think you're at the the table playing the game, but you're at the kids' table right now.
Right.
And the people with all the cards, that's not you.
Yeah.
They've got the cards, they're playing the cards, and if you want in on this, here's your chance, here's your opportunity, because it's highly unlikely that any other company is going to put out a Thunder Tank ever. You know, just because of where the property is now, and you know, it's just unlikely.
Who else is going to be loving Thundercats if you're not in this age group? Like, no, you know, like Thundercats isn't going to resonate with anyone else. Yeah, but the minute you guys broke it down like that, like, where else are you? And I'm like, yep, all right, I'm going to order mine.
Yep,
that's it.
Do it.
And the wife is like, okay, I'll get you that. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, all right, cool. Thanks to Cheynee, I was able to get a Thunder Tank. So I told Nate, eventually I'll just do the episode sitting on top of the Thunder Tank because I'm not going to have any room. I'm just going to
write it as a booster.
Yeah, or just put 2 straps on it and just carry it around.
There you go.
I'm going to have the Sentinel Galactic Thunder Tank. I'm going to look like Voltron.
Your own suit of toy armor. I love it.
And then not let anybody touch me. Like, stay within 6 feet.
No.
Only pictures. Don't touch.
Don't touch me.
Storm Collectibles.
There is a love and hate there, actually, because I love all the properties they have and all of the licenses that they have, but I hate their release schedule because there's so much missing.
Oh yeah.
But if they put out quality like this, consistently from here on out, like for the Darkstalkers, I'm all in on Darkstalkers. This Dimitri is amazing. I love this figure. They've solidified a lot of the hollowness with the rubber, and those were issues that I had before. But he feels so solid. Like he's one of the most solid.
I recently picked them up, so I'm just waiting on getting them.
There you go. Yeah, he's one of the more solid Storm Collectibles that I've ever had in hand. And
man,
I've got a whole bunch of them, man.
Just waiting for the rest of that roster, you know.
Yep. Well, we know we got Morgan coming next, so
we've at least seen the prototype.
Yes.
That's exciting. All right, next is third-party companies.
Third-party companies. What always comes to mind in my mind when I hear third-party is always going to be Transformers, and that's because of Ernie. You know, he's always buying third-party Transformer stuff. And so when I hear third-party, I instantly think Transformers. But now with all these other companies doing great stuff, you know, it's expanded to something more. Like that announcement yesterday for the Bankai Ichigo from Bleach. Dude, like I'm all about it.
Yeah.
And then you've got this amazing guy right here.
Oh yeah.
The V-Toys Robin.
That Robin is so good.
Yeah, he's in my top 10 of the year. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh yeah.
Definitely better than anything that, you know, because I didn't really dive into third party much until I got like the Joker. I can't remember who made that Joker.
Felix.
That we got. Yeah, Felix Toys.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of gave me some confidence. And then I got that V-Toys Robin. I'm like, whoa, wow. This is like far surpassed anything that I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Definitely give the third party a chance. I know a lot of people have issues with them, but you know, they're doing great work out there. You just got to find the good ones.
Next one, Boba Fett. Or Boba? The drink, the guy.
Boba Fett. Boba Fett. That's a throwback right there. 'Cause that's an old Johnny joke. Boba Fett. We used to make fun of Rich for pronouncing it Bubba. Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Boba Fett. Where's Boba Fett?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Is he overrated? Is he not overrated?
This just goes to show how much I love Ernie, because anytime Boba Fett comes up, I instantly think of Ernie. He's the first person.
Yeah.
And then I think of Boba Fett falling into the Sarlacc pit and dying.
And you know, it's funny because I know Kev likes to give Ernie a lot of shit for Boba Fett too, but and I'm like, you know what? But I feel Ernie's pain because I always grew up like Boba Fett was like that. He was the man, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then I now I'm like, wait, well, why was he the man? He didn't do shit. Like then he got like pushed over with the broomstick. Like what the? And that's really like Black Series. That's all I have is all the different Boba Fetts, and they're still. I keep them Ernie. I haven't opened up nothing, and I'm like, man, I got this whole shrine dedicated to Boba Fett, and it's a love-hate. It's a love-hate relationship.
And I love to talk so much smack just because I know that it gets under your skin, but I love Boba Fett too.
Yeah.
He's cool, man. He
Yeah.
looks awesome. Like,
Yeah.
come on now, it's Boba Fett.
that one was for Ernie.
Yes, as it should be. Always.
Marvel Select.
Marvel Select. All I could think of is heavy and big when I think Marvel Select. Like, for some reason, that Juggernaut comes to mind immediately. That big, beefy, like you could do some serious damage to another person with that Juggernaut figure.
Yeah, use it as a weapon.
Yeah, easily. Or if you threw him at a window, he's going through that window. Oh, he's an unstoppable Juggernaut for sure.
Big figs.
Yes, big figures for sure.
SH Figure Arts.
First thing that comes to mind is Dragon Ball on that one, man. Like,
you're a big Dragon Ball fan.
Oh, I love Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super. I love it all. I have so many of those figures, and I still need more because I've missed out on some of them. So, catching up sucks because prices go up. And
I think I kind of decided late that I wanted to collect them, and then at that point it's like, man, I've already missed out on so much that I probably just should stay away because I'm going to spend so much money doing it, and they just come out with so much stuff. But I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan myself. I just stay away from the figures. It's just another avenue I can't go down.
Yep. I wish they would bring Street Fighter back. I wish they would bring Street Fighter back to Figure Arts. I really wish that, and I know Chamba agrees with me. Yeah, we're just hoping, hopefully, one day
they come back. Yeah,
that it comes back. Cause I love that line, man.
Next one is Mafex.
Mafex. It's just X-Men again, man. Like all I can think about is that Gambit. I'm like, why is Ami not charged me yet? I'm ready. Like, let's do this.
Mine should get here on Friday.
Dude, it's sold out everywhere too. You can't find that Gambit anywhere, not even on BBTS.
Yeah, Wisman has his in hand already. He got his, I think, yesterday or today.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, why haven't they charged me yet? Come on.
Yeah,
you got the FOMO.
Man, yeah, I'm excited to see what else they're gonna bringing out. Just keep it coming, Mayflex.
Yeah. Well, the rumor is Rogue is going to be coming soon.
Oh,
so
that's going to be a good one. And I mean, because that Jean Grey looks good. I'm just finish out the line, and hopefully give us a really good, solid Colossus eventually.
I would love a Jubilee. If you're going soft goods on Gambit, give me a Jubilee. And give me, a bunch of different facial expressions, please. That would be killer. I've always wanted that, like, the ability to take the jacket off and have a smiling face. Like, how can we not have a smiling Jubilee in Legends? I don't understand that. Like, she's always smiling. Like,
it's going to come eventually, maybe.
Hopefully.
Legends always surprises you,
Yeah, hopefully. That would be great.
All right, next one is NECA.
The turtles, man. Turtles come to mind. Like, even though, but some of those new monster figures they're doing are killer. I buy very little NECA. Like, I buy very, very little NECA. But that doesn't mean that I don't like it.
Yeah.
It just means that, I've got, my wallet is in other places, and every once in a while I will, like I picked up the Scream figure, Ghostface, and I put it on the Storm Collectibles skeleton.
Nice, smart.
Like, put that book on there.
That's a great idea.
That's a great idea.
So now I have Death.
Damn, that's awesome, Cheynee.
That's so creative.
And like, quick pause in this segment, but that's what I love. Like, you got some killer ideas, but I'm not gonna do shit with them. It's not like I'm gonna take pictures, but I get excited about that. I'm like, like sometimes you'll mention that in the show. You'd be like, I'm gonna do this kit bashing, or you and Adam talk, and I'm like, yes, I'm gonna do that too. And then I go buy some of the stuff, and it just sits there. And I'm like, I don't post about it. Like, I just don't do that. I need to like quit being so impulsive when it comes to these guys. But
I have this on the desk.
That's awesome. Yeah,
I have it on the desk so that I don't push it off somewhere else and forget about it because I'm like, I've got ideas for this that I want to do, and I'm like, I'm gonna leave it right here and just kind of let it,
That's freaking awesome.
sit there, and that way I make sure to eventually take a picture of it.
Yeah, I bought one of those
right around the corner.
That NECA does one of the band's Misfits, and I bought the Santa one just for the coat and the all the soft goods. And I took them all off. I'm gonna do this, and it's just still sitting there. Nothing. I haven't done shit.
Yep, it happens, man. It happens to the best of us for sure.
All right, last one. McFarlane toys.
Daddy Mac. Daddy Mac.
I do what I want. Batman.
Yeah, I do what I want.
I do what I want.
I do what I want. I'm Daddy Mac. But if you're looking for affordable, 1/12 scale vehicles, I'm your man.
Yes,
I'm your
about
guy.
to say that.
Seriously, man, you can't beat the price for those vehicles.
Nope. And like I was telling Ernie last week, I said, you may think that you're not going to buy that monster truck, but you will buy the monster truck.
Especially when it's at $10.
As silly as it is, you'll probably want to buy it.
You're gonna get it. I'm telling you right now, don't fight it. Because you think, oh no, that's dumb, that's silly. No, you're gonna see someone do something with it, and you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I should have thought of that, but I want to do that now.
Yeah,
or something's gonna happen where it's like everyone's gonna need that monster truck. I'm letting you know right now, I'm getting the monster truck as soon as I see it. Like,
and the minute I see you post a picture or do something, I'm like, that's it. Yeah, I need a monster truck too.
Yeah. At least you can admit it, because I think a lot of people are like, nah, I'm not gonna get that. And then it's going to drop. You're like, okay, I need that.
Yeah.
And you already know that you want it.
Yeah. Well, it's probably going to be maybe $40-$50, like a 1/12 scale monster truck for like $40 or $50. Like, let that sink in.
Yeah.
Right.
You're crazy if you don't get it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
You're not going to find that again.
Nope. It's just not going to happen.
And that was it. That's our dirty dozen.
Nice.
Thanks for playing. Your toaster will arrive in about a week or two. So yeah.
Yes. Does it have the figure booth logo ingrained in the heating thing?
It's just a sticker, but then once you make your first toast, the sticker just comes right off.
Oh, okay. I was hoping that it would burn the figure booth into every piece of toast that I have.
That's it. I'm gonna tell Cheyenne to write that down. Cheyenne, write that down.
Cheyenne, get on that. We need toasters that say the figure booth.
Oh yeah.
On my toast, yes.
Man, that's Cheyne's going to be a silent investor into the figure booth.
Seriously, man, we need to consult with him more. He needs to be like a podcast consultant.
Yeah,
I've got ideas, man. I've got ideas.
Cheyne, you're just
you
gave us like gold.
Never
like
stops.
Yeah, I'm scared and I'm excited at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just want to give you a huge thanks, Cheynee, for being here, man. Obviously we're big fans of the show, big fans of you as a person. We think you've created something really amazing on Toy Migos, and we're so excited for your future. For anybody listening, like I said before, if you are not subscribed to Toy Migos, you are seriously missing out, especially for that little tidbit that he gave us of what's to come into the future. Please go subscribe to him. Please hit that notification bell so you don't miss that new stuff. And check out the rest of their content, because they have a ton of great content. So just huge thanks to you again, Cheynee. It's been a real pleasure talking to you, man.
Yeah, thanks for letting me be a part of this, man. This has been fun. It's been awesome. I love this ever growing community. I get to hang out with so many different friends and have a great time. There's all these shows popping up, and I just love that with you guys we can hang out and have a good time, and with Kevin hang out and have a good time, and it's amazing. I love it. I love being part of this community. It's awesome.
Well, it shows in your work, man.
Yeah,
for sure.
So any last comments, concerns, threats for our audience, viewers, and listeners before we head you off to the green room?
Let's see.
I know Omar V's a huge mantra lover, so maybe a mantra for Omar.
I love Omar. Omar's awesome, man. I got to meet him at the meetup. That was cool.
We ran into each other in different streams, and man, we're always like, he's just cracking up. We're just cracking up.
Oh yeah, he's awesome. No, man. Other than hey guys, remember, they're not dolls.
Yes.
Yes.
Thanks, Cheynee.
Love
Thanks
it.
for hanging out with us.
Thank you.
And we're going to send you to our green room.
All right.
See you, Cheynee.
So that's been another episode, guys. Thanks for either watching us on YouTube, listening to us, whether it's on iTunes, Spotify, your preferred method to listen to us for the audio portion. I've been your guest, Josh, aka Prime to the First. You can catch me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all under Prime to the First. And you may be seeing that I am wearing our new Figure Booth shirt.
What?
Doing some little dips there. You can catch that merch on thefigurebooth.com. If you are watching this or listening to us, our site is live. Feel free to pick up a shirt or two, one for you, one for the missus, for the kids. Get them all decked out. And we appreciate your guys' support.
Yeah, soon enough I'll have one too, so we'll both be wearing the merch. But yeah, I love it, man. I think it came out great. I'm excited for what else is to come. Thanks to everybody for all your support as always. I have been Nate, aka FigureFan_Nate. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and occasionally on Facebook.
Thanks, everyone. You have been listening to The Figure Booth.
See you guys later.